Lights in the sky. Voices in the dark. Questions they don't want you asking. This is Wiggins' Wild World. You're right on time.
Hey, cheers. First episode.
Cheers, first episode. Yay.
I love you.
I love you too. Kiss me, baby.
Yeah, definitely.
I was worried I was going to fall out of my chair a little bit.
Sorry for our awkwardness, but we are the Wiggins. This is our wild world.
Welcome.
Jinx, what did you
Stop.
guys? Whoa.
That was good. I'm
You're
quick
quick on the
tonight.
draw like a beastie boy.
Yeah, I told myself don't switch up any words anymore. Don't sound dumb.
You just like literally went straight limited. You just like took a pill and you were just like sucked in. That was wild. If you hear any cute crunching, that's Javier over there eating kibble.
Crunching it up.
It looks adorable. He's so cute. And Aura is literally like, looks like a sack of potatoes mixed with a Vienna sausage missile of meat. I taught her a new trick today. Any of you guys that are on TikTok, the no chit, the do it lady guy?
Do it, lady. You know?
I taught Aura to speak to do it lady today. So I say, do it lady, and she speaks. So, sorry if this was like the most
Boring intro to
boring
the podcast
intro ever, but the last few months have been crazy, so I guess it's okay to. Oh my gosh! All right, so like one more update. Like I was right over here. Like we had to rearrange some stuff, move things around, and I was like, I'm gonna take a few minutes for myself, and I went and sat over on the couch, unwrapped a frozen dairy dessert sandwich because they're not ice cream sandwiches, which is a whole other topic I could freaking rant
Don't get
about.
him started.
Not getting started. I sat there with my frozen dairy dessert sandwich. He is outside. I just heard him bark. Yeah.
Who's he talking to?
Oh, probably a javelina or something.
Wonder if it's us.
Nah. But I was sitting there taking a moment for myself, enjoying this moment. And all of a sudden, I see this little like wave out of the corner of my eye. And an Arizona blonde tarantula had walked into our window and was staring me. 8 eyes to 1 eye. Right? They have 8 eyes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And there was a moment where like I was in shock and ran and got the phone and came back and like as soon as it saw me, it was like, I guess this isn't the spot to be, and just kind of turned around. And when I thought it was going to come in more, I just blew on it instinctively, like, just like blew on it. It was like, I'm out, and turned around and walked out. But if you want to see this thing, go on our TikTok. It was literally
we'll
like...
put it on YouTube Shorts too.
Yeah, we can do that. Or I guess we can just even put it on here. I'll just put a video of it on here, like right here.
Somebody came in to say hello. You are the first tarantula I have ever seen. And you are in my house. And you are gorgeous. And you can just mosey right back on outside, sweet thing.
Stressy.
Yeah. So that baby was like, if my hand, like, it was probably like that big. But they're really chill tarantulas, apparently. And people have them as pets. So if we see them out and about, that'd be cool.
And I missed it.
Yeah. And I sent her a picture, or a video.
Yeah, I was in the bathroom.
Yeah, I
I
literally...
missed it. I heard him say something about it, and I was like, oh! And then I was like, by the time if I rush out of here, I'll just like have rushed, and then it'll probably be gone. So I should just
Luckily, it was a...
see it when I come.
Luckily, it was a tarantula.
Yeah, I was still outside, so I got to see it. Our first ever tarantula.
Mm-hmm.
How exciting!
Mine too, other than in the...
Aquarium.
Yep. No, well, yeah. In PetSmart. Yeah. Anywho, yeah, welcome to the podcast. Brand new episode, first episode. We are talking about what everyone is curious about and has asked us about and has been all over the internet.
Yep.
The backpacks in the desert situation near our property, near the border between Mexico and Arizona. So the deputy called us about a week after we called him, and there had been millions of views across platforms. And somebody affiliated with the border agency, or with the border patrol, informed us that we didn't talk to the deputy that we said we talked to, which was wild. So that was pretty much when we were like, okay, we're out. But let's backtrack. We'll go to the beginning
Where
now.
are we backtracking? Oh,
To the beginning.
okay.
So you and I had been doing our garden stuff. We got some horse poo and some garden soil and
Yeah.
compost and some manure, some steer manure, and we were like digging and flipping, like
Yeah, we dug
double
some
digging,
trenches.
some trenches.
We had just finished filling them up, and we were about to literally setting our fence. We took a break because we were like, we've done enough work today,
Yep,
and we'll just finish this up tomorrow.
absolutely. Like we felt good. We were like, let's chill. We had like the pool there and everything. We were like, all right, let's just chill. We did a bunch of work today, and we were like, let's take a break. We sat down, got to chill for a little bit, and we looked over to an area that I had been aware of, and so has Victoria, that like one of our things was we wanted to buy this 20 acres. We wanted to start bringing more life to it and more water, more grass and stuff to like harbor more water, making some ponds, things like that.
Yeah.
So a lot with that comes species of plants that, you know, stay green, that green earlier, that are more efficient with water. And there was a group of trees off away from our property border a little ways that was green and bigger before everything else.
Yeah, it was like the first bloom of green in the landscape. Like it's all around, like a 360 view all around us. It was
Probably
just the
for like
first.
70 acres, 60, or probably 50 acres.
I have a hard time gauging acres like that, but
Yeah. So like we were like, hey, let's go check that out.
steal
So-
some grass.
Yeah, maybe dig up some grass and take it back. So, long story short, like Victoria and I had been talking about green boots on Everest, which is a
Yeah.
hiker that died and is used for navigational stuff.
Yeah, like a landmarker.
Yeah, and it was just like, you know, one of those things we talked about, and then Victoria thought about it for
Yeah, it was.
quite a while.
I woke up thinking about it, and it was in my head like all morning.
After talking about green boots, like she said, we walked out there and we're walking through the desert, and all of a sudden there's a green boot. And it looked like a military issued boot. Yeah, it was definitely green. It had been chewed on at the top where like a leg would have been, which like tripped us both out. Victoria was laughing because she was
I laugh when I get
uncomfortable.
upset or nervous or any intense emotion.
Yeah, it was weird. It was oddly like something. Everything felt out of place. Like it felt very much like what's going on here? What's happening? Because like there's like nothing else for like acres and acres and acres. No one's ever lived out there in that area, and there's like one little tiny home, like, you know, a quarter of a mile away, or like, you know, 800 yards that nobody's been in for 5 years, which is kind of more foreshadowing. But yeah, so we saw the boot, and oddly enough, the boot was like
directing it. I don't know how to say this, and I feel like I'm butchering it, but it looked like someone was walking, like the way the boot was placed, like not that anyone would have been walking in it. I just mean it was like placed like a ghost step towards that direction.
Yeah, it was weird, and it was like literally aimed exactly towards where we were heading, where the green trees were. And we were both like, what the hell? And it had been sitting there, and it looked like it had a bone in it, but like the boat was boot was too hard and curled and like old and sun dried, and it was hard to like get open or whatever. But the oddest thing about it is like the whole boot is made out of the same type of leather, and the whole inside is made out of the same type of material, but there was only eaten material around the top of the boot. Like there was nothing eaten on the heel, there was nothing eaten on the toe, there was nothing eaten on the middle, there was nothing eaten on the part like ankle coming up to the sides. It was only eaten around the top, which like really, really, that weirded me out.
Red flag.
Yeah, because that's like, especially since one of the bones that we found in October was a lower leg bone that had been sawn off. But like people say like javelinas don't leave any bones, but I don't know. It's interesting. But we found that boot, and we continued on to the area where the trees were, right?
Yeah. Yep. It was like dusk. So we were like trying to get over there before the sun went down.
Yeah, because I remember hustling. Aura was with us. She was leading the way, and she kept like going up and ahead of us. And every time that we'd get to where we were supposed to meet her, she would sit down.
Or anytime we'd like stop and look at anything, like look at any of the plants or anything around us, she'd just kind of stop and stare at us.
Like off in the distance.
Don't you think like you're not done?
Yeah, like keep going, come on, let's go.
Javier followed along the whole time too.
Yeah, the cat, which is crazy. I was afraid that he was going to now view it as places he could roam, but he he walked out there with us. But like the first thing I remember when we like went out there was like I was thinking like, man, this is like a like natural lake or like a pond almost. It's like hidden, like almost like 270 degrees. It's hidden. You know what I mean?
It's pretty well isolated.
And there's like
the spot it's in.
Yeah, and there's like 3 separate levels of like pond kind of there. There's like an upper pond, a lower pond, and then like another like pond marsh area that goes down to like a little waterfall thing with like a refrigerator in it and shit.
It's crazy looking at little area.
Yeah. Well, it's just, you can tell how much water runs through there when it does. And that was the crazy.
A really overwhelming thing for me to realize, because all the ones that like clipped how like crazy rapid it would look with probably less water than you'd think from the sky.
Yeah.
Like, but a lot of water.
Well, and the thing about it is that really set with me is that I could look at that place, like where I grew up in Montana is a lot like this. Like we don't get a lot of rain. It comes in, certain times. And you see dried ponds, dried coulees, dried little lake beds, and how it like sets after the rain, stuff like that. This looked like a little pond that after like it rains or it rains enough, it holds water for a while. Like you can see like the marks on the hillside and the way that the clay in the bottom like was some of the last part to hold it, and it like curled up. It at least held water longer than the surrounding area. It looked like
the rest of the area, and that's why there's so much. Could have been one of the reasons why there's so much grass there.
Yeah,
it was so green.
Well, and we walked into the middle of the area, like the lowest part, and there was grass, and we were like, all right, cool. And there was like big mesquite trees and bees
really
everywhere.
Big.
Yeah, like 15, 20-foot mesquite trees almost. And we walked into the area, and I looked down and saw like a strap.
I immediately started seeing stuff. I was just looking at the. I was overwhelmed looking at the big trees. I was like, whoa, these are giant for around here.
I went from like, this is amazing. I want to find out who owns this, and let's put a big pond here and do some stuff. To what happened, because like things just started clicking with me, like pattern wise. Because in October, literally Halloween Day, we found leg bones and a child's shoe and a backpack that had been sliced in the back, like sliced open, not cut or not like unzipped, sliced open. There was 2 pesos, like yoga mat, deteriorated jacket and stuff. But the main thing was the bones in the shoe and the backpack. and that was in October, Halloween night.
It was literally on Halloween.
Yeah, and that was the deputy that we called. Like we already have a working relationship with him with stuff that we'd found on our property. Several things.
Ben.
Yeah, several things. He was really, really nice and really, really helpful. And this whole time I've had nothing but good things to say about that deputy. Secondly, he told us, like, hey, this is like your property. You guys have a right to kind of to know, unless it's part of like, some crazy ongoing investigation or some shit. We'll let you know if it's
Like what we find out.
Yeah, we'll let you know if it's human or not. And also, like, people that are like, they don't have a right to tell you, they don't have to tell you. There's an entire organization in Arizona dedicated towards deceased migrants that have died on their way across the border.
There's a
And
few.
you can go online to the websites, and they have red dots at every single place that a migrant was found.
And that they found them.
And I mean, yeah, they don't have to tell you that, but it's not something they're necessarily afraid to say. Like, yeah, here was a migrant that was lost. The thing that they're hesitant with is we found 8 to 10 intact backpacks, if you include the one that we found in October.
Yeah.
So all of those backpacks in the same place, with some personal belongings in them, with shoes, with bones that, like, so many people on YouTube have literally said, I'm in the medical field and that looks like a lower leg bone of a human bone.
What's crazy to me is
or
how
femur.
many people consistently say the same thing. They say one is an animal bone, one does not look like an animal bone. They always say that, and they always say the same bones, and it's just like, that's a lot of people saying the same thing.
Yeah, well, which makes sense because we found it near the shoe, right there, with several other bones. Like, they clearly an animal had piled up or something
like
there.
made some kind of collection, maybe.
Yeah, I just remembered that that's not the first tarantula that I saw today that came through the window.
Really?
Remember the one that was in the hole underneath the backpack?
Oh, the teeny tiny one?
Yeah. So
I forgot about that one
when
too.
we found the shoe and the bones in the backpack, there was a little baby tarantula underneath.
It was
that
pretty
backpack.
cute.
Yeah, it was eerie. That was such a crazy day for
It was
being
kind
Halloween.
of super eerie.
Halloween.
And I remember when we first arrived to the property, there are 2 ravens that lived, or they'd visit Walter the dog and like the horse that lived on a neighboring property next to us. These 2 ravens like to hang out there in another property, and they flew by and they were like really checking us out. It was like the first time I think they'd ever really seen us, because it was one of the first times we'd been out on the property back in October.
Yeah.
And it was just weird. Halloween, ravens like flying by and cawing and finding all of that spooky stuff. I was just like,
yeah.
that was like super surreal.
Yeah, it just, the whole thing was crazy. So I had an eerie feeling and a something isn't right feeling since we found the shoes and the bones and the backpacks, or the backpack in October. The thing is, you're like, well, what does that mean? Whatever. Well, myself, like, I was raised super strong Christian and stuff. Like, I'm not somebody that, like, was raised by hippie parents who were, woo-woo. Like, my mom thinks you're, like, going to hell if you, like, read a tarot card, or, like, don't say bless
My mom
you.
thought things
Or, like, don't say bless you when somebody sneezes.
Maybe not that bad, but
Yeah,
tarot
at least
card
your
thing
mom
for
thought,
sure.
Parts of organized religion were kind of BS. It's more about the people than the religion.
Yeah.
But, yeah, with that, I'm not raised with, like, woo-woo type parents at all. And I know that I have some sort of extra perception when it comes to stuff that is, like, maybe traumatic, or, like, has a high,
Emotive?
like, so anything that has, like, a high emotional impact, I would say. Because it's like, I've showed up places, I've gone places, and I just hear things and come to find out, oh, it's because this happened there, or because that happened there. Could be total BS, and I could be totally making it up. But in my experience, it really seems like that. And I have high-functioning autism. I'm diagnosed. I have autism spectrum disorder. generalized anxiety disorder and post-traumatic stress. And it's like, yeah, I feel like they're all like,
That was a joke.
Okay. No, it's fine. But I feel like things that are like anxiety related and like stuff like that, especially a lot of that stuff that you get from like either being treated a certain way or coming through things, they almost work as certain antennas for you because you become extra sensitive. You know, the way that like kids can, like after they've been, you know, through abusive relationships with parents and stuff, can actually like read micro
cues and expressions.
exactly in people's faces, and it's like, you know, that person might not even know they were agitated yet, and the kid with these perceptions already has figured it out, like thought it, figured it out, changed their behavior, protected themselves emotionally, and all this stuff when the other person hasn't.
A lot of it's subconscious, right?
Exactly. And I feel like that's just one of those things when you've been raised around a lot of that shit, you start to get used to it. However, I worked in the funeral industry right out of high school, and I was in rooms with literally hundreds of dead people at, you know, within a day. 20, 30 in this room, 20 in the Bay Area, you know, between Redwood City and Antioch and Daly City, I think, just Bay Area shit, Alameda. So, like, there's a lot going on, a lot of violent crime, and, you know, I'm 18, 19 years old, and there's this feeling that comes, well, I guess with me anyway, there's this feeling, it's almost like a fog, it's an electric fog, that, like, people say humans, like, aren't when they're dead, there's, like, nothing there. There's something there, you know what I mean? Because, like, there's skin cells, there's bacteria, there's fungus, there's stuff there. There's things happening. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but, like, I got that electric fog feeling when I was there. And it could have been adrenaline, like, it could have been that we were, like, you know, too excited in a weird state of mind or whatever. But I have to go with what I felt. And, like, on top of that, there was this sinking, like, elevator gut feeling that, like, you know, or you went off a, like, dip in a car where that
Like you saw
flutters.
something you couldn't unsee.
Kind of.
Felt a lot like that.
I told you I saw faces when we were getting ready to leave. Like, I kept looking, and everything that I saw was, like, faces coming out of clay.
Yeah, I remember when we left, you said it looks like faces. They all look like faces.
And
like,
I was like,
they're staring at me, and the more I look, the more faces I see.
Yeah, and we had to get the hell out of there. And that was just like,
creepy.
you know, you can roll your eyes, you can do whatever, but it's like that's what happened. So, and it was getting dark, and
So we had to go. We didn't want to
we got the hell out of there. But like that night, I feel like I kind of it was. I feel like I kind of drug that out. But like that night, we found probably 2-3 backpacks, but I could see the tops and parts of them, and that was when I was afraid to like look underneath the backpacks.
Yeah, at first you were just like, I remember you bent down and you like grabbed a strap and you were like, what's this? Like what the fuck could this be? And you started pulling, and then like the dirt moved and stuff came up, and you were just like horrified, like that's anything happened.
Yeah.
And then there was other things, and then you were
the
especially
shoes,
upset.
the other shoes, like there was a pink shoe, there was
The other boot,
and there was another pair of like mesquite boots, like hiking boots, and it's just like they're all about the same size, and my mind just started racing. Like, people don't leave those kind of boots in the desert. You guys that haven't been out there don't understand. Mesquite trees are everywhere, and every single mesquite tree is covered in thorns that are literally about as long as my pinky. And they're hardwood. It's a hardwood. Like, it's not hardwood, but it's a very hard wood.
Yeah, pretty durable.
And, like, I mean, you could totally puncture a soft tire with them. It's crazy. Like a football, you could push a mesquite thorn right through a football. So, like, that, you know, mixed with cholla, which are like a really, really spiky cactus that the little spines come in clusters. You've got prickly pear. Yeah, well, stop.
Well,
Got
I
you
didn't even
before
start counting.
I know. Fuck. Call me Billy the Skid. There's just a lot of stuff out there that's super, super thorny, and rattlesnakes and everything else. It's just
Scorpions.
It's scorpions, especially if you're walking at night. And there's literally no way you're walking through the desert, traversing the Sonoran Desert in tennis shoes. So you most likely have 2 pairs of shoes, and it's like they're going to be in their tennis shoes. I don't buy it, don't believe it. And the thing is, it's easy for like the border agent dudes that like reached out to us to be like, this is nothing. Like that's so easy to do. And just say, hey, this is nothing, and we know it's nothing.
We all want it to be nothing, right?
Hell yeah. It's just like people that don't like, I'm somebody that doesn't watch the news as much as I used to because I genuinely don't want there to be that shit thing all the time, which like might be right or wrong, but you got to protect your mental state a little bit. But at the same time, denial isn't just a river in Egypt. Sorry, it's the corniest thing ever, but it's the truth. Like the first people, like, but at the same time, we had like several border agent people come out and be like, "Hey, look, this is not good." Like retired border agent people, and one of them even said some shit that was like, "Hey, this is XYZ," which like as soon as I did, this other gentleman that was a border agent's like, I've been working there for 20 years and I've never heard anything like that, and it's just I don't know who to believe. Like there's cheerleaders for it being nothing, and then there's sad, remorseful people that are like, shit,
Regretful
this
to
is
tell you what they
I've seen shit
experience
like
with.
this. You know what I mean? I worked in Texas and yada yada yada, and then you have some smart asses like here that are like, this isn't anything, blah 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 blah. You know, and I genuinely don't know who to believe, what to believe. I have to just go with my gut. But this is where things get precarious. So once we found the backpacks, we got weirded out. So I opened up my phone, recorded directly to TikTok, just because I felt like that was smarter. I could upload it; it'd be saved on there. Because I got really weirded out after we found like the third or fourth, third backpack, somewhere around there. Yeah. And just kept finding them. Like we'd look and there was at least buckles and straps and shoes and shoe heels and shit. And we started recording directly to TikTok, posted it, got back, and by the time we got back, it already had like 100,000 views. Like it had been shared like 50, 60, boom. 70 times. Just like boom, like instantly. And people were like freaked out. They wanted to know where we were, what the hell was going on. We were pretty freaked out by it. So we went live talking a little bit, explaining the situation. People were like, we should go back out there. Like, just wanting us to go dig. At the time I had a mini excavator on the property.
There were a lot of people that wanted you to use the mini excavator.
Yeah, they wanted me to just drive out there and dig and like several things. That's not my property. I wanted to do it really bad, trust me. I wanted to do it really bad. But one, it's not my property. Two, people were like, you're an idiot for even moving that shit. Like you're fucking with a possible crime scene.
Compromising stuff.
Exactly. Which like I understand that kind of. Like if something looks like trash, you can pick it up in the desert. And if it...
They also can remove DNA sequences, right? If
yeah,
they
exactly.
like have yours, they can identify it and pull
or
it out or
fingerprints.
something.
But I don't think like they
exactly
would even.
How it works.
I don't think they would worry too much about it at that point. But yeah, they could take us out of the equation. Plus, like, yeah, that stuff was so deteriorated. That was the funny thing with people being like, oh, they faked that. They brought that stuff in. It's like, where do you find that deteriorate?
I don't know how we'd make
like,
that.
how do you find
like,
that deteriorated? Like, it was like, I'd have to like get on like some like chemist YouTube thing to be like, how do you make a spray that deteriorates and discolors fucking clothes and
crazy
shit?
Reddit.
Yeah, I'm sure you could actually figure it out, but come on,
I bet
Jesus.
you could, but
yeah, not worth it.
the time it would take and the effort, and probably the money, actually.
Yeah, but regardless, we went live, talked about it a little bit. Everybody's like, go back out there. We went back out there the next day, found more bags. Like another shoe or two.
Shoes.
Yeah, found pants.
Men's underwear.
Yeah, a pair of men's underwear, like boxers. And in like some of the backpacks, we actually got to look, and we didn't see any names, which I was really hoping to like find something like that would be a clue towards anything. But we found toothbrush, toothpaste, contact solution and contact case, and I think that's pretty much like it.
I think there was like sunscreen or something.
Yeah, sunscreen too. But there was a couple that had the toothbrushes. Like there was like
And the tiny toothpaste.
Yeah, two or three toothbrushes and toothpaste. And that was the other thing too, is people talked about like these kids in either I think it was like Arizona or Texas, not the ones that were on the road that people like tagged on
but the
TikTok.
ones that got given a bunch of backpacks
Yeah,
when they
given a
got
bunch of
crossed over the
backpacks when they
border.
crossed over the border.
And then like no one ever saw them again.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And they had things
That gave me
in
the bad chills. Yeah.
they had like toothpaste and sunscreen
like Welcome
and
to America brochures or something.
yeah, but I just at least what I heard, that was what
this is all what we've heard from other people.
That was another
about
thing that like
particular
weirded us out.
thing.
But after that situation, we went back there, like I said, the next day, saw a bunch more stuff. Saw that like one of the neighbors had been using it for like a shooting range or something, because there was just bullets. There was like
Shells all
22 308 like AK round, like 7.62 by 5.4 or 3.9, 7.62 by 3.9. There's a bunch of stuff. 9 mil, just a bunch of rounds, and it was on the upper level where we found like one or two other bags that were really deteriorated. They weren't full bags; they were just like straps or buckles. Yeah, with that, we went back to the house and we were like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Uploaded some stuff, got berated by a bunch of. By a bunch of border agents that are like, you guys are wasting time, like you're stupid, you don't know like what the hell you're talking about. One of them claimed to like ride on horseback that area like back in the day. There was a whole like movement of like probably 5-6 border agents that just like kept posting or kept commenting and like saying shit, which was like, all right, fine. And there was other border agents that were like, what the hell are you guys doing? Why is it a big, like, not current border agents, but ex-border agents that were like, what are you doing? Why can't people just look? Why is it,
like,
why is it a big deal?
Yeah,
why is it a big deal to look or ask the question? And was that the day that we had the flyover, or was it the next day? I think it was that day.
I think it was that day.
It was that day. So, like, that day. So, after we had that, like, I had that squabble kind of back and forth with 6 of the border agents.
Yeah, you kind of were like, what's wrong with asking a question?
Yeah, I told them off on a video pretty much, like, on a video reply where I was like, what is the issue with asking for someone to look into something that could be a possible crime? How am I a bad person? How am I a troublemaker? How is any of this? Wouldn't that be what you'd want in your community? Like, this is really weird. You guys are really fucking weird. I had one of those videos. And that took off again. And so I walked into the trailer and was talking to Victoria about something. And then all of a sudden I heard, and I went outside and looked up. And there was a Cessna airplane that was so low I could see the rivets and the straight treads in its wheels. And it was flying in line with my line of sight, so I couldn't, like, see the tail number in time because it was, like, directly over me. So the side, like, the side little wings in the back were, like, blocking it, I think, too. But I, like, could have got out and, like, ran, like, one direction, but I was, like, kind of in shock. And there's not a lot of places to run. So I'm like just looking like, what the fuck is happening? Pardon my French. And I remember clear as day, it was like maroon and like off-white. It at least looked like vanilla white. Like not like beige, but like white vanilla.
Like a dirty white, maybe?
Egg, like vanilla.
Okay.
Like, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. So I was like, what the hell? And sat there with my mouth open. Like, ran back inside, told Victoria we just got buzzed by like an airplane, and then immediately went back on TikTok and blocked the main guy that was talking to us, because like I just like, it was just, the whole thing was eerie. Like, that guy got a hold of us when we moved over there, and he got like, he was just he was friendly, but it was weird friendly, and I might be an asshole, but I'd rather be a safe asshole than not. But he was like, hey, like, you know, you're on TikTok, we're on TikTok, you're a content creator, blah, 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 I have an airplane. I'm a pilot. Like, would you guys want to come up sometime in the airplane? I was like, sure, dude. Like, that'd be fun. Yeah, like we can collab or do some networking. That'd be fine. And he was like, well, why don't you tell me your address so I can like do a flyover and like buzz you guys? And I was like, no. I appreciate it. That's okay. Like, I just, we like kind of like our privacy and don't really want to have somebody buzzing us whenever they feel like it that has an airplane.
Oh, you were literally like, I don't know you yet. We just
Yeah.
met.
That was it too. Like, we just didn't know
Like
him
you were
at all.
I'm pretty sure.
It was like our fourth message to from the
It was
the guy.
really quick because like within the second or third message that that guy had sent, it was like, "Where's your address? I want to fly. Like I want to check it out."
You want to fly over? And I was like, no, thank you, appreciate it.
Which was just really like.
Tried to be polite, but that was like it.
Okay.
And then like he never interacted with us online again. Like, and
Not much.
We followed him. He followed us, obviously, but never again. I don't think
Well,
I ever.
I think we could see like you can see who looks at your videos sometimes, and
Yeah, I mean interact. Like he'd watch videos, but he'd never like our stuff. He'd never share it. He'd never interact with us at all. You'd see him just kind of like watching videos occasionally, and all of a sudden this guy is just all over our shit because we found this stuff on our property, which was weird, or right near our property, which was weird. And that guy has an airplane, and then all of a sudden, boom, the airplane flies over. I ran inside and told Victoria, "Holy shit." Numbnuts just like flew over our shit. We got buzzed. I'm pretty sure it's him. So I blocked him on TikTok. Like, and was just like, holy shit, this guy's crazy. Thought about going on Flight Radar 24, which like I still have the dates. I can figure it out. I'm just not even really interested because somebody did that based on what we found that day. And I don't care if they're messaging that guy or if they were taking pictures for that guy and sending them to him or what. But it happened, and I don't really care who did it.
it was just really coincidental.
Yeah, it's
like,
not a coincidence.
There's
no way. There's no way. No one had done that. We're out in the middle of nowhere. Like there's airplanes that will fly by the mountains. There's C-130s from the air base that will fly by. Helicopters will fly by. So no one has ever flown low enough over our freaking trailer on our property that I could see rivets on the freaking airplane and flew directly over it. Like that was either sending a message or trying to look at stuff.
Something.
Yeah, and you guys think, well, how could they find us? Well, we have a 16 by 31 pool. We had the biggest pool that you can, like, biggest above ground pool you can buy because we weren't going to be without, like, a place to swim in the desert because my wife's a fucking mermaid.
Check out our water storage video.
Yeah, check out our water storage videos where we have, like, 15,000 gallons of water storage in a pool. It's neat.
That was our idea. That was the whole reason we had the pool and swimming.
And anyone that looks on our TikTok at the time could see we had the pool, so it'd be easy to spot,
We
especially
literally
if you
had
know the general idea where we
The
live.
video on our YouTube channel, like it's us.
Super easy to find. So the airplane flew over, blocked the guy, posted a video about it. Everybody like went into sleuth mode on TikTok, and they were like, he was just in the air. It said he was just in the air. He was just posting videos from his TikTok in your area or near Douglas. So all of the internet was like, holy shit, dude, you know? So that guy, instead of like making a video to respond, instead of trying to like clarify or anything, he erased his TikTok account. And I think when he realized how guilty that made him look, he made another one and just added the number 1 to it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then was like really being a smartass and all super like mysterious, all dark and twisted. Dark and twisted. I know. I tell all dark and twisted. But he came into the live stream that one time. But after that happened, and was like, you didn't talk to the freaking sheriff, yada yada yada. But that was a few nights later. So the airplane flyover happened. We went on live. Everybody was like, holy shit, that really happened. People, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's people that like made videos about it. Like the search for this individual's name went viral for people like trying to figure out who he was. Like apparently he was an actor for a time. Oh shit, scorpion.
Where?
Right here.
Oh shit, Javier. Damn, no wonder it's like invisible.
It's just a little baby. See, those are the ones walking barefoot through here. You will get effed in the A. All right, keep an eye on it so I can get him in a cup.
Javier, don't struggle. You think he'll go back to it if I let him down?
This is the super karma points when you can catch scorpions.
Where'd he go?
I don't know, but you better keep an eye.
Oh, I found him.
It's there.
It's like, where's Waldo on the bricks, but a scorpion.
Hold on, Javier.
I've got him.
Oh my god, he's so fast. Holy shit.
You're defenseless to his speed.
Oh, see.
Javier, don't make this a struggle. Okay, you got it. Do you need a flatter piece of paper?
No, I'm just gonna keep him right there while we're podcasting.
We're back. We saw our first scorpion tonight, too.
God damn. Yeah, do we still want to have our bed on the floor? Like,
No.
Is that still like
I
an
had a
option?
dream about getting bit by a rattlesnake, and I woke up from it because it was a very aggravating dream. And I was immediately worried in my waking life that I had gotten bit by a spider or a scorpion while I was asleep, and that's why I had a dream about getting bit by a rattlesnake.
Which is
I did
interesting.
not.
Which is really interesting, actually, because that was one thing I was thinking about, like when I was talking about the woo-woo ESP shit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Before we were surrounded by until we moved to practically Australia, where we're just surrounded by shit that wants to poke us or kill us.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing this doesn't have is crocs and I guess a bunch of other shit, cassowaries and stuff. But
Yeah, and certain snakes.
yeah, but until we moved here, where we were just like surrounded by like reptiles constantly. When I lived areas where I wasn't around a lot of reptiles, if like I'd have a dream a lot of times the night before I would see a reptile, and it would look a lot like the reptile. So it's really interesting that you had a dream about something that's venomous or could bite or could like mess you up, when we literally have had a tarantula and a scorpion in our house.
Yeah,
so
that is
far
pretty
today.
interesting.
And the thing is, I think, we just got to really, really be more vigilant and be on the defense. Now there's something like walking on the floor. And I'm
Bugs
like, oh my
everywhere.
gosh, bugs everywhere. But where were you with the story?
Okay, I was just thinking that. I was like, man, that was a hardcore derail. We had just talked about the flyover and how he remade
and everybody,
his TikTok
and everybody
account
was
with
like, oh my
the
gosh.
number one on it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So, with that,
I think that's what
we live streamed like that night, and stayed up pretty late.
hella late. Well, we didn't really have anything else to do because we were just kind of like,
Freaked out.
yeah.
Got up the next morning, did like a little bit of chores. We're trying to like figure out what
Be
we should do.
semi-normal?
Yeah, if we should get back. And in the meantime, like that day, the next morning after that, we called the cops. Like we called the sheriff. Talked to the dispatcher, whose name is.
Do you want me? Should I say it? I guess
No,
we could
but
bleep it.
it's a town in Georgia. I'll just say that. Like if anyone thinks we're full of shit, but we talked to her and then left a message with the deputy that we didn't talk to, according to the smart ass dude at the airplane. So we then we're like, all right, hopefully we'll hear back. People on TikTok were like, dude, like you guys have to go higher than.
Well, they were like, "Why'd you call the sheriff?" They literally,
Yeah, people
so
were
many
like-
people were like, "Why'd you even do that?"
Yeah, why'd you even get a hold of the sheriff's department? That was crazy. But I thought since we had a good relationship with him and trusted him, that was probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, he seems like
He's a good dude, I think.
yeah, he seemed
Yeah,
like a nice
I really
guy.
do. I still think he's a good dude. I think he just got caught. He's being told what to do. And he's doing his job, which
Yeah.
doesn't mean he's a bad person. It just means he's caught up in some shit. So we called the sheriff's department. Was hoping to hear back that day. Didn't hear back. The next day, I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to call the FBI. Everyone on TikTok was like, call the FBI. So we called the FBI. I went through the whole automated system. To be told at the end of the automated system, your phone number has been flagged as a false, false. Well, I always think of
Hot tipper.
Yeah, hot tipper as a false tipping number. Please call 911 or your local like sheriff's department, and it just hung up. And I just sat there like somebody took the time, a law enforcement person took the time to report my phone number as a false tipping number with law enforcement agencies, and like pretty much like blacklist me with that, like getting flagged, like, hey, person is a hot tipper, which I assume was the Cochise County Sheriff's Department for me trying to help or find out something.
Or a border agent.
Or the border agent, dude, possibly. Yeah, I mean, just by odds alone, I would assume it was the other people. Mm-hmm. So that happened.
Yep.
We were a little weirded out by it.
Super weirded out.
Was still hoping to hear back from the sheriff's department that day. Had to do a couple things here and there. Went live. The next day, we called the U.S. Marshal's office as soon as they were open. Talked to an awesome lady there in the Tucson office. I forget your name, but thank you so much. You were such a sweetheart and absolutely amazing. And I talked with her for like 15 minutes, like 10 to 15 minutes. I don't remember exactly. But after that, she said to me, hey, I have to put you on hold and talk to my supervisor. She had me on hold for like 8 to 10 minutes, my supervisor. Mm-hmm. You then went live on TikTok.
Yeah, I went live as soon as, I think around the time you were on hold was when I went live.
Yep. And then
because I thought it was weird that he was on hold, and then he was on hold for so long. I was like, that's hella weird. And so I was like, I want other people to see and hear like anything that's about to happen.
Yeah, and I was excited because hopefully some people were going to get to hear some meat from the feds. So or U.S. Marshals, I think they're feds. But she got back on the phone, super apologetic, and informed me that was not their jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. The U.S. Marshals. Now, granted, this is like just over 10 miles from the U.S.-Mexican border. So it's in Arizona, in the United States, and the U.S. Marshal's office in Tucson informed me that was not their jurisdiction. And at that point, I'm like, the hell am I going to do? And this is like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Got off the phone with them, and I'm just like, shit. Like, where do I go from here? I gotta. And I was asking people on TikTok if anyone had access to cadaver dogs, mm-hmm. if anyone had any like information with rescue people that like were in Arizona that weren't like super busy or were coming through the area, that we could do like some sort of fundraiser to pay for their time or something, just to see if they could find something. And as I'm like going through this and figuring this out, I was walking around around the end of our trailer, and I looked off in the distance and saw like a reflection that I thought was like a roof of a neighbor's vehicle that I like didn't recognize. And then I realized like, oh, like that's a vehicle sitting on the road, which was like weird because the spot it was sitting there's no homestead, there's no turn there, there's nothing, it's just road, but there's a hole in the mesquite so you can see our property, and there's a white truck sitting there. And I was like, what, that's weird. And then I thought, oh, they're watching us. But I thought it was a Cochise County truck first, because it was a white regular cab truck, which just made me think like, oh shit, it's a Cochise County inspection truck, he's probably sitting there on the phone or something, not necessarily watching us. I stood up on the bumper of our trailer, which we had an extension on the bumper of our trailer, and stood up on it like to get a little bit better view to see if I could see like the logo. There's no logo. When the person saw me, they immediately like tried to back up and move and like ripped around and turned the other way and was zipped out, which like nothing like that has ever happened on our road. We've seen literally like one neighbor that lived like near that area that showed up once. And then like another neighbor that like Walter, the dog's owner, that we saw once.
Well, we might have seen him a couple of times.
I don't think so, because like he has a square body Chevy, I think, and I think I literally saw it one time.
Yeah, I thought I heard him come like early in the morning once.
Yeah.
Like another time, but I only saw the truck.
I can't even tell you what color it is. And there's only one other person that like showed up on that road, and I will tell you I'll tell you guys about that. So here in a minute. So once that happened, and when that guy left, when the truck left, it could have totally been a coincidence. But when you add up these coincidences, when you add up the plane with the person, with the border agents, just with the FBI, with me calling the FBI and getting my number blacklisted from literally some federal agencies. I don't know why it still worked at the U.S. Marshal's office, but that still freaked me out nonetheless. So with that, we got really, really weirded out. And that's when we were like, holy shit, like, what should we do? Because, like, we felt like kind of sitting ducks. Like, you can see you can see us for, like, a mile. And, like, right where we're at, we were pretty easy to find. And no fences, you know what I mean? You could just walk up to our trailer. We definitely didn't feel comfortable or safe. The weirdest thing is, like, our neighbors, like, constantly, or not constantly, but a few times said, like, different heebie-jeebie type things about the property. And we had a neighbor that was really negative and aggressive, had killed some people's dogs, has a restraining order against him. As far as I know, he, like freaking, like, almost beat somebody to death in a hate crime in his hometown. Which I'm not, like, meaning to slander or anything. I believe that's public knowledge, and I'm not saying who the individual's name is. But, so we were just like, oh, shit. We just don't feel great being here. So we were like, maybe we should leave. Maybe we should go somewhere. We went live. We were trying to talk with people and stuff and figure it out. It was a little bit later. Like, that day we were just kind of trying to figure out kind of what we were going to do, where we were going to go. And we went live for like 4 hours or something.
4 or 5 hours, yeah.
Yeah, and when it was like 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning, that was when the border agent, the new border agent came on our live stream and informed us that we never talked to the deputy sheriff that we talked to. And Victoria and I looked at each other and were like, all right, holy shit. And she was like, I don't want to be here. And I was like, I don't want to be here either. Like, I don't want to have to call these people when I'm worried about something or need to rely on them for my well-being. So we were just like, all right, like, we're out. So it literally was 3 in the morning and we had our shit packed. By the time we had our shit packed, and we went and got a hotel in another town, and we literally, it could have been overkill, whatever. Like, we literally started to make the reservation in another town at another hotel, and then just went to a completely different hotel and town, because we just in
a different town.
Yeah, we were just really, honest to God, worried and scared.
That was probably, like, the scariest thing that's ever happened to me, or, like, a scariest experience. Like, that whole time period, like, that felt very surreal, and it didn't at first, like, not really, just with the way the interactions were on online. It, like, got very just strange and, like, unpredictable.
Yeah, shit got weird.
Things felt really unpredictable.
Yeah.
And
well, I felt like if we
I did not like that.
got pulled over by, like, the sheriff's department or interacted with the border patrol, like, in the wrong way, with our last name being so uncommon, that shit could get weird. That was why we proclaimed we weren't, like, going to hurt ourselves, that we were perfectly safe and sane. And yeah, we had people in the county telling us we're trying to ruin the county, that we were crazy, like, all this shit, literally for just trying to get the law enforcement to take a look.
Check it out.
Yeah, so, like, we went to the hotel, and at that point ended up linking up with an individual who had this amazing house, Aaron Cooper.
Thank you.
So Aaron is
Don't know if you're watching, but
yeah, we love you, Aaron. She's amazing. So Aaron was like, hey, I have these houses, you guys should come and check this out. And we were like, yes, that would be awesome. And, like, the rest is history. So now we're here and been moving and figuring all that shit out. But yeah, it's really interesting. I still don't know any answers. There's been TikTokers, like this one bald dude with a mustache that has just desperately been trying to make himself a part of the situation since it happened. Like, he has no affiliation with anything. He has no credibility. He has no special licensing, no anything. He just, like, lived an hour and a half away from us, an hour and 20 minutes away from us, which, like, think about how far that is. You know how many people live between us and that guy in this state? That's a hell of a lot of people. I bet 60,000 people.
like
50,000 people.
navigate that.
Yeah,
area.
the time it takes to get to go that far. And he got really upset because we didn't respond to him, but he took it upon himself to go out and try and disprove us and debunk it. And it was just, I for the life of me do not understand why somebody would put that kind of time and effort into trying to be a freaking roadblock instead of trying just to help some people out. People that were trying to show up and help us, quote unquote, without us being able to vet them or talk to them or see who they are or know who they are. Like, I'm sure your hearts are in the right place and everything, but we just were really, really scared. Like, we genuinely were. And call us pansies, call us, over whatever. Like,
Overreactive.
we were there, and people were there with us, watching it, seeing what happened, seeing what that guy was saying, seeing what people were saying to us. And we didn't feel it was in our best interest to stay there. I literally said it earlier.
And
go ahead, baby.
I was just thinking, like, our lives, our TikTok at least, kept getting violations and canceled.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have one in that time period where we ended it. They all got canceled.
Yeah,
right? Was there
I
maybe
think there was
one
maybe
that we
one
ended
TikTok we ended. Yeah, 'cause it was
on
late.
purpose?
It was the one.
Our
it was the
YouTube
one when
Live,
we left.
we didn't have, or our
What's
YouTube
what I mean?
Live didn't have any problems, but
Or TikTok Live.
TikTok Live, all of those got canceled,
Yeah.
with violations and reported. And
I think the only one that didn't get reported or have a violation was the one where we said we're gonna leave, like we gotta go.
oh yeah, I think
the
you're
only
right.
one.
I think that was the only one, because that was on TikTok. That was the only one that we actually logged off or signed off. That only one where we weren't kicked off, which felt strange too.
Yeah.
Which we are still new to TikTok Live, and there's a bunch of rules and regulations.
Yeah, as thankful as I am for TikTok, because it's the reason we have the following we have. TikTok sucks. Like, it really does.
Yeah.
Like, I love TikTok,
Yeah.
but it also sucks.
Oh my
Like,
gosh,
TikTok
yeah.
was so
it's a
much.
mixed bag.
Yeah, it's like it's a lot what I imagine like the movie industry is like. Well, how I akin the music industry, because it's like with music, music was so much better when I didn't know what keys, timing, like harmonies, like I couldn't critique it.
Yeah, it
Music
just
was
something
rad.
to enjoy.
Yeah, when I couldn't critique it, like listening to No Rain by Blind Melon, not knowing what key, not knowing any of that stuff, just like listening to that song with like the Eerie like vocals and shit. Amazing. But then you like get older and you're all into music and you're super pretentious and you start being this snooty asshole and this person sucks for that reason, and everything just kind of goes to shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's really like the same thing with being a creator on TikTok. It's
How it's like you just know too much about how. to
Oh my
do
god,
things
yeah,
or
knowing how the
something.
sausage is made, and it really, really sucks. And I'm sorry to like bitch and complain about it, but it's like it's nuts. Like literally right now, after this whole situation, if you want to see how crazy it is, go on our on our TikTok page. If you're on TikTok, we have 180,000 followers, and we'll post something, and it'll be like seen by like 400 or 500 people, and then by the next day, it'll probably be around 1,000 like people that view it. Meanwhile, you'll go on somebody's account that has 17,000 viewers or 17,000 followers, and they're getting like 10,000, 6,000, 5,000, you know? And we used to get 20,000. It's just crazy. Like, I just feel like we're 100% being throttled, which is crazy because that
Yeah.
directly affects your income, which is wild.
And our videos are there's a glitch or something where every video we have that could be monetized and it meets the requirements, we get a notification that it's not monetized because it's set to private and it's under review, but they will not continue the review until it is set to everyone. And
It's already set to
they're
everyone.
all set to everyone.
And they won't let you appeal it. The
And
appeal
you
button's
can't appeal
great.
it. So
Yeah,
we
and you
gotta,
guys
like,
that are on
email
TikTok are
and
like, who cares?
stuff like that.
And
Yeah.
I get it. But it's crazy because like we have
Well, it's
100.
not like we're getting that much different views on YouTube either.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, we have 180,000 followers, and if TikTok wasn't throttling us, we'd be able to make an income and be really comfortable right now. Like, at least kind of comfortable. We could be making probably
Comfortable for us. because
yeah,
we don't have a
like
lot of
we'd be
expenses.
comfortable with $1,000 or $1,500 a month. We'd be
Yeah.
okay. But it's like we're not even gonna make $3 this month because we just don't get the TikTok love. But yeah, there's a chance we'll edit this out because nobody cares. But yeah, that's pretty much the situation now. And as far as like
Did we-
hypothesis with that whole thing, like there's just individuals in the area, especially one that like has a house that's the same color as what like this sensitive psychic type spiritual person had a psychic dream about a bunch of kids in a pond and this gray house. And the person who I know of in the gray house, that's the only house like right there, that person's like pretty sketchy and has like a criminal history and has been mysteriously gone, left their homestead that they've done a shit ton of work
Like
on.
a lot of work.
Like adobe bags and like
Or
adobe
tamped
house.
earth bags or
Yeah.
whatever they are.
Like left that for the last 5 years and let it just completely crumble with thousands of dollars of stuff there. And it's like that, you don't just do that. And oddly enough, the stuff in that pond has deteriorated about the same time as that person's been gone.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that anything, I'm just saying that's a weird coincidence. And if anything, that person could know something. But, oh, and also before all this went down, that person showed back up to their house for a minute just to like try and save their like permitting with the state. Like they drove, like literally came from across the country. And as soon as they showed up, they started shooting their .22. Like just pulled out of, like stopped out of their gun, out of their car, pulled out of their thing and just started like shooting it into the hillside. And I could see like just the way it was going down. It was like one of those like more intimidatory. It was intimidation tactic, like type thing.
Because I'm picking up what you're
yeah,
putting
because
down.
we were the new people in the area, and he wanted us to know he had a .22, which was just like
it was just odd.
it was weird.
And then he only
very
was
posturing.
going to and fro at like odd hours. Did you notice that?
Yeah, and like driving hella fast and shit. It was weird. He didn't want to be seen out there. Yeah, so there's that, and not saying anything, not accusing anything, but it is freaking weird, and we're definitely keeping our heads down still about that situation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, we emailed a couple like of those nonprofit humanitarian organizations that we referenced earlier. We sent a couple emails, but I haven't heard back from anyone.
Well, one of them teamed up with the bald jackass.
No, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm like talking about like the people who like find like the put the like the map of like migrants, like those like humanitarian organizations, like the like fairly bigger ones, I guess you could say. And we haven't heard anything back. Last I looked, and I checked the email. I haven't checked it this weekend, so it would be awfully funny if there was a reply in there right now.
There would be a ring check,
but it speaks a lot about how confident I am that there's not. It seems like anytime anyone who could like spread awareness aside from the everyday person, like thank you everyone who has like talked to other people about just the topic in general, because it's an important topic and it's a serious problem, and just spreading awareness about it in general does a lot, and you might not anticipate it, but it does. What I was getting at is it seems like every time anyone who can help more or bring more public eye or more resources to the situation, they just don't.
Yeah.
It's just like something could, like when you're ignoring something, it just feels ignored. That's how it feels. Maybe it's because I'm invested or whatever, and so that's my interpretation.
I mean, you can kind of see it with us now, like not to complain too much or anything, but it's just, you know, I reset our For You page on TikTok, so it was completely reset and didn't have any like input, and started scrolling through, and I was 10 scrolls.
I don't know if you were 10 scrolls.
I might not even have been 10 scrolls in on a fresh For You page, and somebody showing one of our videos popped up, and it had 47,000, or it had
100 and something thousand.
It had 174,000 likes.
Talking about us.
Talking about us, which is crazy because like on TikTok, like we can't get anyone to view any of our content. And if
when we were having this conversation right here.
Yeah. If we use our hashtag Wiggins Wild World, our videos will get like 20 views, and we have 180,000 followers. Like, think about that's almost 250,000
Yeah,
people in
just
TikTok.
statistics. It's like the
Yeah.
numbers aren't working.
And people say like I'm overreacting about it, but they've like effectively demonetized us, which like is crazy because that was a reason I turned down everybody's money. We had a bunch of people trying giving us money for GoFundMe's and stuff like that. And I was like, don't do that. That's silly. We don't need money for cameras because we're moving. And I'm not going to take your camera money and buy
Use it for other things.
other shit that we need. And on top of that, we had 155,000 followers on TikTok. And I was like, we're easily monetized now.
Yeah, when we come
You know what
back,
I mean?
we'll have continued support. It's kind of what I was thinking, at least.
Yeah.
Like
But it's just, you know, everything aside, like I'm thankful that light has been shed on the situation. I'm hoping and have my
100%.
fingers crossed that it is not something bad. I just cannot see people leaving their shoes, backpacks, personal effects, you know, unless it was some big border patrol bust where they like left all their stuff and dumped all their stuff, which does happen. It's weird it would be in the pond. It's weird they'd be scattered.
There.
It's weird there'd be like shoes and personal effects. I don't know. I feel like you could bring your backpack back. Yeah, and on top of that, like if it was that, why wouldn't the Border Patrol just say, hey, this is for sure what it is. Let us check, like let us talk to the sheriff's department and see if we can, you know, whatever.
Check it out. Like show
Yeah.
us where it's at, and we
Like
can
the
see.
whole like wasting like, you know, whatever.
Taxpayer
Dude,
dollars.
there's so many cops in that area. Like you literally cannot turn around and throw a rock without hitting a cop in the area around
The
Douglas and
law
Cochise
enforcement
County.
presence is like
Every fourth car,
it's
every
very like
insane.
kind of oppressing.
Yeah, every fourth or fifth car, I swear, on the highway is a law enforcement official. If it's either a state cop, a border patrol agent, or a sheriff's department. And the crazy thing is, half of them are unmarked cars. But yeah, I don't even know how long we've been going. But
A pretty long time, I think.
yeah. But I'm sorry we meandered a lot, guys, and I'm sorry that we're not like the best storytellers yet. I mean, I don't know. I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, don't say
But
sorry
I
too
shouldn't
much.
say sorry.
Don't say sorry too much.
But,
thank you everyone for being here and sticking it out with us. I was just looking at the microphone like it's camera, so don't pay attention to that part.
Oh, it's okay. Smacking
but,
the table's the hard part.
Don't pay attention to that either. Yeah, thank you for sticking with us through the podcast.
And through this whole situation.
And the whole situation, and just following or subscribing or checking in. We appreciate it a lot. Neither of us have much of a support system at all, believe it or not. That's sad. You probably would believe it, because what other kind of people go on TikTok Live when they have problems like this?
Or move to the desert.
Or move to the
As
desert.
the like good option.
But that's neither here nor there. This is our first podcast. Broke down the backpacks. Think this is probably going to be where we leave it for now, unless there was any investigators that like really were able to look that were
and
real, and
they know our number. I left my number with everybody.
we have a very you can find our email.
Yep.
It's the same name we use for everything else.
Oh, and I
So-
forgot to say, the deputy sheriff that called me, he called from a blocked number. I would have
he
answered
called you
it.
back. We
when he
totally
called-
blanked that. Oh my god.
Well, yeah, no, I talked about him calling us back.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm
I
so
talked about
tired.
it at the beginning and in the middle. But when he called us back, I forgot to say that was from it was from a blocked number. And we had so many people, like my phone number got leaked. So we had so many people getting a hold of us at the time that like somebody calling me from an unmarked or unknown number, I wasn't going to answer. So then he left a message, and told us that the bones that we found in October were non-human bones, that they were animal. And I don't even just know if I buy that shit anymore.
And you didn't bring up anything about the situation we called about when we initially called and left a message.
No, didn't bring up a word. Mm-hmm. And that was what we initially called about. Sorry if I hair in my nose, but that was what we initially called about.
So we kind of were just like, understood.
Yep, understood. Talk to you later. It wasn't worth our time like digging like that anymore.
And we had moved, we weren't moved, but we were actively moving, so we were like as good as moved in our minds.
Yep, and that's the thing, guys. Like as of right now, obviously the Border Patrol knows through that dude with the airplane. The Sheriff's Department knows from us calling them. FBI knows.
News agencies know.
News agencies know. I mean, millions and millions and millions of views. We called the U.S. Marshals too. We're on to the other parts of our lives, but we moved. We're bummed about it. I was literally just saying earlier about how much I miss like doing work on the property and like, you know, she was talking about how we were building our house from scratch and going to have like cool earthen floors and all this stuff.
Design features and stuff.
You know, and we might do that stuff again in the future, but
Probably
just
will.
like, yeah, it's just right now, we just don't feel good out there. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel comfortable.
It doesn't feel safe.
Yeah, it doesn't. And like, we'll end on this, I think, because like we're a paranormal, weird, you know, mystery based podcast. Just so you guys know. And there's more episodes to come. Like we're gonna do this weekly, even if it kills me. And I'm really excited about it. So we're gonna have guests and stuff, and yeah, not just us jabbering on forever.
Rambling
but yeah,
around.
next week we should have a guest. I'll extend it out a little bit if we can't get somebody lined up in time, but we're gonna have a guest.
Well, leave comments of things you'd like to see us discuss for any like few solo
People, ideas,
things, people you want to
concepts.
see, favorite
We're into
creators,
all kinds of weird shit.
paranormal things you've seen, stories you'd like to be more investigated or looked at, or
The drones, the UAPs, the orbs.
yeah, anything you want to hear, let us
Space.
know, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I'll leave you guys with this. One of our close friends that was here for 4th of July, they're creators that are our neighbors. I don't have to say their account, but I'll just say David and Justine. And David's like pretty no bullshit, man, but he's really
Neither
like
of them are.
yeah, they're
like
both
they're very no bullshit.
yeah,
people.
they're Stockton. They're Stockton people, if that tells you anything. So they're awesome. Like they're Arizona Off Grid. Go check out Arizona Off Grid. They're just such a great couple and such an awesome
Who's
channel.
them?
Just go check out Arizona Off Grid. So David, the dude with Arizona Off Grid, he's like telling me when we man, my eyes are so blurry. When we went and got the like whole internet ablaze, I called Arizona Off Grid first and was like, dude, this is what happened. And he was like, bro, I don't think I told you, and if I did, I don't know if you remember, but we legitimately, like, I saw a shadow figure on your property, and when I saw it, your dog saw it too. Like, your dog looked and I looked, and he was like, I got chills and shit. It was crazy. And then fast forward to
when they were over.
when they were here for the 4th of July. They don't live, so like where we lived and where they live, that property is pretty much like kind of in between, almost in between us.
Yeah.
And he said he was sitting there laying in bed in their house and heard a kid, like a child's voice, like giggling and singing like you would hear in a creepy movie, like la na 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 na, and like heard that, and he like wakes up and hears it and is like, what the hell, you know what I mean? And then hears a man's voice being like, hey, come on, knock it off. So he like goes outside, looks, like checks the area out. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. And he told me about it, and he's like, dude, I don't know what, but like I'm hearing shit. And Justine like saw shadows go by. So it's like, I hope they don't get mad at me for saying this. I didn't really like clarify, so I can always like remove shit. But it's just like that area
Creepy.
definitely has some energy, and we're not the only ones that were feeling it. So yeah, if you guys want to subscribe, follow, stay tuned. We're gonna have some more cool shit coming out. But that is the story pretty much of the backpacks in the desert. That's where we're at.
Yeah, that's where it is. It feels like, I wish it was more like there was more like an ending, you know?
Yeah, me too. I do. And I also wish we didn't have to leave our property too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we could go down the list of things, I guess, but
yeah,
like,
so
comment,
thankful
share.
to be here. But yeah, like, comment, share, get ready for more to come. Please subscribe if you're not. And yeah, if you're not following us on TikTok, check us out. We need every little thing. And yeah, check out more of our videos on YouTube. The one with the first time we found the bones and stuff, or you know, any of our off-grid stuff, or us getting moved here. But we have plenty of more to do on YouTube, and we're glad to be back. And we'll get back to vlogging now that we feel a little more vlog worthy. But we had to get this podcast episode out.
We also had to just kind of like adapt and recuperate, like regroup our mental space, probably mostly. At least for me, I know I had to.
Absolutely. When you're the most important.
We're both very important.
I love you.
I love you too.
All right, thank you guys so much. We will see you again next week.
See you guys soon.
And yeah, stay wild.
Mm-hmm.